Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. Today, I am here with the lovely Zinat Ali from the MCA, and her and myself, Kaylin Burke with METALCON, will be doing today's presentation on maximizing your trade show attendance at METALCON and at other industry events going forward throughout the years. We are so pleased to say that METALCON is coming. We are less than 100 days away, everyone. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, book them now. I do have a special discount code coming up in a few short slides, so pay attention to that one. We're so excited also to announce that we have the Future Leaders Friday taking place this year. So taking place on Friday, both at our main theater as well as at another refresh area. We're going to have a keynote that is specially designed for the future leaders. Everyone is welcome though. And we're going to have a refresh area just for future leaders where you're welcome to get coffee, network with fellow individuals, and you'll have a special badge and a special logo on your name badge that tells the attendance in that area, who can and who cannot attend that space. This year at METALCON, we do have 3 exciting keynotes. As I have just mentioned, we do have Melissa Furman taking up the rear on Friday. She'll be our final presenter, which is going to be amazing. Then we have on Wednesday, Joe Theismann, who's an amazing NFL quarterback, Super Bowl champion. His accolades go on. And then we have on Thursday, Dr. Anirban Basu. Dr. Basu is an industry insider, someone who is fantastic all across the industry. So we're very excited to have him as well. Don't delay, everyone. As you all know, after last year, we did have to add in some additional hotel rooms. So hotel rooms do go quickly, and we do offer very special discounts when booking exclusively through Globetrotter for this year. So please check that out. Make sure you get your hotel rooms quickly. And as promised, here is that discount code I was mentioning. If you haven't already purchased your tickets to METALCON this year, you can go ahead and purchase them now with that special code on the screen for an extra $50 off. So you get $50 off any one of your registrations, as long as it's not the Value Pass. Up next for METALCON Online at the end of August this month, we are going to be working with Lauren Rogers of Sherwin-Williams. And she will be presenting on achieving sustainable performance for decades with coil extrusion and metal coatings. A super, super interesting presentation. So really excited to see what that's going to bring. And we're excited to have her with us. Finally, if any of you have any questions, comments, concerns, you are more than welcome to shoot me a message in the chat box. I'm listed as METALCON Live or METALCON Online. You can always reach me there. Or if you run into any technical situations, I'm happy to help with that as well. You will be asked a survey at the end of this webinar. Again, all you really need to fill out is your name and your email address, and that just ensures we can get a certificate of attendance to you. So please make sure that you fill that out so we can get you the information you need to ensure that you have that for your either employment or to continue your education and gain CEUs. I'm going to hand this over to Zinat now to start discussing what's going on with the industry. Or well, we'll both talk about the industry events and the importance of attending them.
So in this industry, yeah, as you may know or may not know, there's a ton of events. METALCON is one of them. There's an event every month and multiple every month. So the first thing you want to do when you're thinking about industry events is thinking about your position in the industry and kind of just going through and highlighting which events make sense for you to attend. So when you go up to your manager, you don't want to just say, I'm going to all of these industry events. They all are somewhat related to metal construction, so I'm going to go. You have to go through and say, okay, well, this event is about roofing contractors. I'm not a roofing contractor. That doesn't make sense for me. Or this event is about retrofit. That's exactly what I do. I'm going to go to this event. Or an event like METALCON is going to encompass both of these. So that's an event that I'm going to prioritize over a smaller event because I need that type of experience. Or if you're more into getting AIA credits, what events will provide these credits for you? So that's, I think, one of the first things you have to do is sit down and look at that long list of them and just prioritize what makes sense for you to go to, what times of the year you're available to go traveling and to go to these events, and kind of sit down with your team and your manager and make a plan to attend these events.
And to kind of piggyback exactly what Zinat was just saying, is you also need to really focus on your region. someone who is practicing only in the state of Florida, then maybe it only makes sense to go to regional events in Atlanta, in Orlando, in South Florida, Miami area. It really depends on where your business goes and how far it goes and what your region is or what your business is. If you are selling products, of course, you're going to have a much broader range. If you are purchasing products, you may have a smaller range. Or if you're just doing a very specific contracting job where you have a specific state associated license, that's all going to play into where you go and which locations you go to. Same with AIA. It all depends on what you need as an individual and where you're attending or what you're attending, what your focus is on. I know this year, specifically, if you're an engineer, we've reintroduced a bunch of engineering topics for METALCON. So this, while it may not have been something on a previous engineers event profile, this is definitely a show to consider. There's several other shows, again, as Zanat was mentioning, that really take into account exactly what you need. So take a look at the full industry and take a look at the full year's worth of events and understand and get a really strong feeling about what's the most important, what is the most prominent, what region are you going to go to, et cetera, et cetera. You know, honestly, we've run into situations where we've seen certain businesses say, you know what, we're expanding, so let's go to more. So you might be going to places you never even thought of, which is always an exciting thing.
Also take a look at what your associations your company may be a part of, and if they have particular events or if they have discounts for events, or even if you're attending an event, look for things like a future leaders discount code. Don't just register without checking out like any sort of registration discount or anything that you may be qualified for, because that, I mean, it might just be $50, but that adds up if you save $50 for a couple of events. So really look at registration rates, look at what you're a part of already, if you could get a member rate or if they offer something at that meeting. I know for MCA and MetalCon, we have a special relationship where if you're an MCA member, you get a discount on your exhibit booth, which is a huge discount sometimes. So make sure to take advantage of all of those situations.
Absolutely. And I'm actually going to launch a poll right now that's going to ask you, are you attending any industry events this year? Select one of those items on your screen. Okay, we have one yes. And we'll see how many people are actually going to different events. Awesome, cool. Well, we've got a lot of people that are saying that 4 out of 5 that have responded so far are attending industry events this year. We do have one person saying hopefully, so that hopefully maybe the information you gain from this webinar will be able to push that over the edge in your favor. I'm going to end that poll now. Okay, I'll share those results so everyone can see them. So again, we had the 5 respondents, some very interesting feedback. Now, let's also talk about what to do if you have gotten your permission, you know you're attending any trade show or any conference. What do you do? Zanat, I'll have you take this one as well.
So before the show, and this goes to if you've been to the show a million times or if you are attending for the first time, even if it's a show that you've gone to a lot, just take a look at the exhibit hall map. Things move around, things are added and taken out every year. You may switch locations every year. So one important thing that I like to do right before is to mark where my booth is relative to everything else. It just helps you kind of get a lay of your land, let you know who your neighbors are, what area of the show you're going to be in, and that type of thing. And then just mark important areas of the show, so stages. So if there's like a special keynote area, make sure you kind of have an idea of where that is relative to your booth and just in general. Mark any booths that you want to visit in advance. So if there is a booth or a company or something that you want to talk to that's completely across a view from the show floor, just kind of have that in mind to know that it's going to take me, 10 minutes to at least get over there in the first place and have that conversation, then another 10 minutes to walk back, just so you have an idea of, oh, if I'm going to visit this company, I need a good chunk of time to go visit them because they're far from where I am. Whereas this other company, they're right next door. Any single time there's a lull, I could just turn over and have a conversation with them. And then just some other things to note, because these are long days, you're on your feet a lot. Where the concession stands are, where are the restrooms, just things to make your experience a little bit easier and to just help keep you energized and on your feet. Just kind of know, okay, I can grab a snack here, or if I need a restroom, it's right there. Also, sometimes people may ask you where these things are, even though generally in conference centers, they're very clearly labeled. It's nice to know where they are. And if someone asks you, you can point it out right away. Another thing you want to do is before the show, they will have a list of all scheduled events. So just highlight sessions that you think might be of interest to you and might be important to you and kind of prioritize those. So if there's, a dozen events and you think maybe 5 of them are applicable to you and 2 of them you must go, just kind of have that in your head. Know when there's going to be scheduled, know where they are, and then talk to your team, whoever your manager is, whoever's in charge of the booth, to make sure you have that hour or 45 minutes off where you can attend that session. These days are very crazy. There's a lot going on. A lot of people are needed at the booth themselves. So to have this kind of plan going in place to make sure, okay, if these 3 people are gone, we still have 6 people at the booth, or if this one person is gone, we still have 1 person at the booth in advance will help a lot to make sure that you're not missing anything and maximizing your experience while also making sure that your exhibit booth is well maintained and always has someone there for anyone stopping by. Visit booths early on in the show. So I'm going to use MetalCon as an example. It's over the course of 3 days. Don't wait until that Friday noon to go visit a booth that you've been meaning to talk to the whole show. A, they might not even be there. They could pack up early. B, they might be super busy that Friday, or you might end up being Friday. Just don't wait last minute. Try and pack it on early on in the show. Even sometimes right as the show floor opens, it's a little bit quieter, or like during lunchtime, something like that, just so you aren't waiting until the absolute last minute and then you miss your opportunity to make that connection or have that important conversation that you went in wanting to have. The last thing I'm going to talk about is dress codes. So you don't have to dress business formal in your best suit or your cocktail dress or anything like that. You want to make sure to dress comfortably. You're on your feet a lot. You'll be walking around a lot. A lot of these show floors have wires and carpets and things sticking out. You want to make sure whatever you're wearing, whatever foot gear you have on, you're able to comfortably navigate that and not trip. But you also want to dress to impress in a certain level. You want to make sure you're dressed professionally, that you represent yourself and your company in a very good way. I would say business casual is generally the way to go. You just want to make sure that you look put together, feel put together, and you look like someone that is ready to take on that show. The last thing is bring your business cards, whether that's an e-business card that someone scans or an actual physical printed business card. Make sure to give that out to people. You may think that you're going to remember all the people you talk to, and if you haven't been to a show, I will guarantee you will not remember a single thing at the end of it because you will be talking to so many people. So it's helpful to give out your business cards. You can even write a little note. I do that sometimes, kind of summarizing my conversation with that person. So not only you remember, but they remember. So if I'm talking to someone, I'll be like, oh, talk to them about upcoming summer meeting, and then hand them that business card. And then when they contact me or I contact them, we both know like this is what we were talking about. And that's why we made that connection. But it's an important way to just kind of get people to remember you and for you to remember them. So don't forget them. They're very important.
Yeah, and honestly, at MetalCon at least, our lanyards that everyone receives in your name badges will have a QR code so exhibitors can scan you and get your information, but not every exhibitor participates in that program. So really, really bring those business cards, especially if you want to network with other attendees and if you want to network with every single exhibitor on the show floor, or you want to network with someone who's not guaranteed to have those scanners available. If you see me wearing my red carpet vest and spiked heels, you'll know that I did not follow the dress code do's and don'ts. So I'm going to take it from here, and we are going to discuss some of the important aspects about attending a trade show and why it's important for essentially everyone in just about every industry to really maximize your attendance in ways that you can do that. And the first one, first and foremost, especially for us, since we do have a special networking event taking place on the show floor this year at MetalCon, is going to be networking opportunities. What better way is there to really get to know other members of your industry, other members that may have a slightly different viewpoint than you do, also within the industry, and for you to gain some additional information? This is a great way to do that. So not only will you be able to get some diverse connections, you'll be able to meet not only with, if you're a contractor, fellow contractors, you're also going to be able to meet with different suppliers, our exhibiting companies range everywhere from a sealant to the teeny tiny screws that go into minute details of a roofing segment or a wall segment, but you're also going to be able to meet with architects, engineers, and get a better understanding for what they're looking for from a contractor. So it's a great way to build that knowledge base and that connection and those networks. And of course, as we all learned in the throes of the pandemic, face-to-face interactions, nothing beats it. Nothing beats being able to meet a person face-to-face. If you're comfortable with it, shaking a hand. If not, doing the elbow tap. It's really an important aspect of our industry, especially an industry that is growing the way ours is. It's so important just to get out there to meet people, maybe not even individuals you thought you needed to meet with. And then finally, lasting relationships. There's nothing better than meeting up with people you've seen at previous years or connecting with someone at this show and then seeing them 2 months down the line at the next show that you're going to. It's a great way to build those long-standing networks, those long-standing connections, and ultimately grow the industry as a whole and really grow your own networks and grow your own industry to benefit yourself, your business, and everyone else. Yeah, so there's that.
Yeah, and it just helps make these events a little less intimidating because a lot of people do attend different shows. So if you go to one show, make a little bit of a connection, even if it's just a quick hi, hello, the next event, maybe you're in a smaller session and you see that same person and you both make eye contact and you're like, wait a minute, didn't we meet down in Florida or whatever? And now we're here in Atlanta together. So it's just like a nice way to make these connections. I like to think every connection is an important connection, whether or not in the moment you think, oh, this is going to further my career. You may not think that, but every single connection helps you feel more comfortable, move forward, and opens opportunities that you may not even know existed.
Zanat is so right there. I mean, I've met people at different events, industry trade shows that have opened up doors for myself and for METALCON that I never thought would have opened in the past. It's amazing, really, truly amazing what can happen on a trade show floor or at a conference. It's so cool. Next, we're going to talk about skill enhancement. One major reason these shows even happen is to make sure that people get the trainings that they need and to maintain the skills that they have and get even more skills. It's really, really awesome. And as a lot of you have seen at METALCON in particular, we've increased the amount of trainings that we offer. Not only do we do our show floor education, our keynotes, but now we also offer the training zone. And at the training zone, you get hands-on education. So cool, so fun. And we offer certificates of attendance. Certificates of attendance is really important, especially if you're trying to get your employer to say yes to having you attend. Coming back with those certificates of attendance or certificates of accreditation, it's really wonderful. And it's a great opportunity to show your worth in the industry and prove that you know what you know and give your employer and potentially future employers, depending on where you are in your career path, giving them that opportunity to see that, yes, you're taking an active role within the industry and you're taking an active role in skill enhancements and taking a role in just doing more, getting more out there, getting better. And, we also offer AIA continuing education courses for those members in the architects industry and those members in the engineering industry. We also have introduced Florida contractor state licensing. So we do have several courses that are accredited through Florida Contractor, which is really exciting and a wonderful partnership we are embarking on this year. But even if you don't attend METALCON and you attend other shows, figure out what you need. Does your state have licensing? Do you need to maintain your continuing education? What information do you need to maintain your licenses? If you're a roll former and you're a part of the AC 472 or AC 478 program, what information do you need? Or if you're a part of a brand new certification program, how can we help you get there? How can these shows help you get there? It's awesome. And speaking from IRE and METALCON, both of them offer these amazing continuing education programs that can benefit you in every aspect of your working life. So that's great. And then of course, training sessions, hands-on is always good. Zanat, do you have any additional? pieces?
This is just one of those things, like I said, when you before you even start thinking about shows, if this is something you're interested in, look for shows that offer these things so that you are going to a show and you're maximizing your experience and you're getting exactly what you need. If you're out there trying to think like I need training sessions and you're attending shows that don't provide that, then it's not exactly the best use of, a trade show. So make sure that you're aware of these things. Make sure before you go on, you know what time these sessions are happening and that type of thing. So you can make sure to gain that experience.
Absolutely. And any show worth their metal is going to have all that information online well in advance. I know IRE has some information already online for certain workshops. MetalCon, you can see all of our education listed online as well. So there's lots of opportunities, and yeah, it's important to continue that skill enhancement. Next, we're going to talk about career advancements. Attending shows really allows you to improve your performance, gain problem-solving skills, and it also offers career growth. So with regards to improving your performance, not only are you attending the show and getting the education that you want in learning centers, but you're also able to walk around to potentially companies you are already partnering with or tools your company already uses, and finding out new ways to utilize these tools, finding out new ways to utilize these programs that you may already have in-house, and learning how to maximize their utilization within your own personal businesses. It's just really cool. It's fun. Problem solving. And again, you're able to find new ways to do things, new individuals that may have different ways of thinking that you hadn't thought about, or they may have a new approach to something, or even just when you're networking with someone and they're like, oh yeah, we ran into that same software glitch. This is what we did to fix it. There's no telling what you're going to learn from the other people on that show floor, from the other exhibitors, depending on where you stand. It's it's just it's just really interesting, and you never know. You could learn about the newest Netflix documentary, or you could learn about you could learn about the newest software that's coming through from Sidan or metal forming, or the newest tools coming up from Milwaukee. You just never know. And of course, career growth. What better way is there to network and find other potential companies and to show your own metal within the industry and to prove to your company that, hey, I am invested here. I am invested in this company. I'm invested in this industry. Here's proof. I'm attending this trade show. I'm attending this conference. I'm going here. I'm going there. I want to do more. I want to be a bigger part. There's nothing better. Is not any further comments on that?
We just keep emphasizing the importance of face-to-face connections, and you will notice that on show floors. If you're a salesperson and you've been talking to someone for ages and you meet them in person face-to-face, I guarantee you more often than not, you will make more progress in that 1 5-minute face-to-face interaction than those 30 emails that you sent chasing them down. It is really important. And, I'm like between the Gen Z millennial line, and I hate face-to-face interactions, but I cannot deny the importance of them. So it's just something to get really comfortable doing. One of the things that you really learn to do on a show floor is kind of improvise on the spot and learn things. You don't have the tools that you normally do in your office or your cubicle with your computer right at hand. It's just that knowledge that's in your head. And maybe there's a buddy next to you that you could quickly be like, hey, is this something we can do? Or is this something? But in that moment, you really learn how to think on the spot, and it really makes you grow as an employee. And it also kind of shows people who are above you, like what you're made of, what you know about that company, how you're able to sell yourself that company, that tool, that material, whatever it is. So it is a really great way of just kind of like diving headfirst and getting that hands-on experience, which it might seem a little scary, but really it's all like just a great learning opportunity. And that will help you, I guarantee you, when you're asking for that promotion or that raise, when you can say like, I went to that show, I learned all of these things. I really think that I'm capable of doing this next position because I've handled that type of situation before. It gives you a real life example to draw upon when you're having those conversations.
Absolutely. And honestly, both Sanat and I will be there at MetalCon this year. So if you need a buddy, if you need someone to be that support system, just come find one of us. I'm sure both of us are going to be able to come and help out and be there as your support system. Next, we're going to talk about the additional benefits of attending a trade show. Not only do you get to show and prove that you want to be a member of the industry, but the industry is going to see you. The members of the community are going to see that you are there. You are a visible member of this industry. You are constantly trying to better yourself. You are coming to these events. You're getting out there. You're being in person. And it's really going to help you and your company as a member of the community, just putting it in that next tick box up. Like you're just going to be that much better and that much more visible, that much more recognizable. And you'll be seen as an industry leader. If someone has a question about whatever your product is or your type of contracting business, oh, I remember seeing so-and-so at METALCON and at IRE and at FRSA. That's just something that you can't even put a dollar amount on becoming that industry leader and that industry voice. Next is going to be the leadership opportunities. Again, as we were saying earlier about growth within your company, you're going to have that opportunity. You're going to be able to see that as someone who is attending these shows, as someone who is attending these various industry events, leadership is going to take notice and you'll be able to be seen as a leader, not just by the industry or the association, but by your own company as someone who was out getting that cutting edge technology information, getting that up to the minute information from your various suppliers, various distributors and other contractors or other architects and engineers. It's a great way to prove and to show that you are leadership worthy, and it'll give you more of those leadership opportunities. And following those leadership opportunities, as you're seen as that industry leader, you're going to get speaking opportunities. And METALCON is one that is always open to new speakers. But I also know that IRE is open to new speakers. There's so many different ways you can get involved and ways that you can grow your own presence within the industry and really show that you are a visible member and that you are an active member and someone who should be seen as such throughout this industry. So not any further comments on that?
I just want to echo what you said. Just really take advantage of your attendance and of being there. Don't be afraid to step up, even if it's your first meeting or your first show. If you see an opportunity to enhance your presence and to really take a leadership or speaking or some sort of role that really emphasizes your presence, step up and do it. Take advantage of that opportunity. And if you hesitate and you miss it, don't be afraid to sign up for the next one, or even find, for example, if METALCON, you see there was a speaking opportunity that you really think that you would benefit from, find Kaylin and say, hey, like, I really liked this session. I think in the future, I could do this session, whether it's a webinar or in person at METALCON, like I can contribute to this. A lot of the sessions that we do during these METALCON series come from people like you who approach us on the show floor and say, hey, you know, I could really use a session about this, or hey, I could really lead a session about this. So don't be afraid to vocalize your opinions, your ideas, come forward. We're always looking for new people to be involved, and we would love for that to be one of you.
Absolutely. And, getting involved and trying to be a new member of a highly visible industry can be tough. We want to make that much easier, both from the MCA side and from the METALCON side. So don't be afraid. Really don't. That's
also, this is kind of related, but if there's a speaker that you see or someone leading a session where you're like, that person is such a valuable like asset for me, like they have so much information, there's so many things I could learn from them, don't be afraid to approach them or approach someone else, or approach one of us and we'll connect you to them. That's how you make these connections. Even if they seem like, oh, like this is the CEO of that company, I can never approach them. Yes, you can. And more often than not, they're more than happy to relay their experience. So if you're courageous, go up and just approach them. Or if you need, like Kaylin said, a buddy, come up to one of us and we'll introduce you to them. But that is a really great thing you can do, is find kind of mentors and make your own mentors at these events and have networking opportunities that you would not otherwise have.
Yeah. I'm just going to say ditto. Everything that you said, 10,000%. Now that we've discussed all the benefits of attending, going to these shows, being a part of them, what do we do after a trade show? How do we follow up? How do we kind of end our experience there?
So I liken this to an adrenaline crash. Like when you're before the show, you're anticipating it. When you're at the show, it's just go, go, go. There's a million things going on from the minute you wake up and that breakfast you have to attend to the minute before you go to sleep, right after that client dinner you had. So after the show, it is very tempting to just kind of forget it even happened. But there's a few things that you should try and do to make sure to prolong that experience that you just had. So one is work your social media. Post about it. LinkedIn is a great place to post about shows that you attended. Oftentimes, shows like METALCON or IRE will post themselves, reshare that, add your own little, I was at this show and I went to this session and it was really great. Or if a speaker posts something, say, oh, I went to, Dr. Furman's session and I learned this. It is a great way to show that you not only attended, but you also you engage and internalize everything that happened there. Also, this is very important. Follow up with any connections from the show. Like I said, you may forget why you have that business card from that person or why randomly you wrote, Kaylin on the corner of your notebook. But make sure to try and take a little bit of notes as you're talking to people, whether it's on the back of their business card or a notebook or something, and then follow up with them after the show. Even if you don't fully remember the conversation, just say, hey, my name is Zanat. I met you at the MetalCon show floor in Atlanta last week. I'd love to follow up on our conversation. Please let me know when you have some time. And then just continue those connections. And like I said, if there's a speaker that you were really interested in and you made that connection, follow up and email them. Don't expect them to reach out to you. Email them and say, hey, remember we talked after your session about this and I got a lot from it. I have a few questions, or if you had some time, I would like to chat, that type of thing. People will definitely be more receptive to you reaching out than you expecting them to follow up with you. But yeah, follow up with any and all connections, even if it's just a quick, hey, it was really great to see you at the show. I hope I see you next year at the next one. It could even be as short of a note as that, but it leaves a somewhat lasting impression. Another thing is just write down any quick notes or tips. I like to do that, as I'm waiting for my Uber to go to the airport or I'm waiting for my plane. Just quick things like, hey, next year, and it could be something silly like these shoes were terrible. Don't wear them again next year. Or, hey, I missed this session, but everyone was saying that this was a really amazing session. Make sure to make it next year. Just any sort of thing that you want to remember for next year. Don't rely on your memory. Just write a quick Word doc or a Google Doc or however you take notes, a notes app on your phone, and just save that. So next time you're going to a show or that show, you can just review these quick tips and you're like, oh, okay, I remember these things. I have to make sure to implement them this year. Even if it's something like, oh, I went to MetalCon and there was a future leaders discount this whole time and I didn't use it, but I qualify for it. Next year when you're registering, make sure you use it. So just quick things like that.
Absolutely. There's so many different things you can kind of see in that post show mindset as you're coming, down from that adrenaline rush, like you were saying, Zanat, and really having those notes, having that follow up and having those really important connections that you make on site, just kind of coming through post show is ever so important. The other thing to keep in mind is that if you are with a company that does have the scanner, you will already have a list of everyone that kind of visited your booth and you'll be able to get that list. So just in case you forgot a name or something, there will be that list available to you if you are using our lead services through CDS from our registration company at MetalCon.
Yeah, and if you have a tool like that and you get that full list, don't be afraid to send like a quick email to everyone on that list saying like, thank you for stopping by our booth. It was great to meet you. If you have any further questions, contact me. Just make sure to do an additional touch base with anyone that you talk to in person after the show.
As someone who attends a lot of different trade shows, that makes a world of difference. Like hearing that touch base, even from fellow attendees, it really does work and it really does help you grow your own internal network within the industry. So I would love to open this up. If anyone has any questions, feel free to send us anything through that Q&A box, through the chat box, and we will answer any questions that we absolutely can, whether it's about the importance of attending regardless of your age, or how you can utilize your registration, how you can utilize your attendance to benefit yourself and to grow within the industry or grow within the industries you're interested in growing in. we're here to answer all those questions.
Yeah,
And-
or if you have a tip that we didn't touch on from your experience, feel free to share. This is the type of environment where we would love anyone with anything to say to just come out and share with the class, as they say.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if there are no questions, if nothing does come through, you are more than welcome to reach out to either of us. All of our information can be found on our respective websites. Zanat is with the Metal Construction Association, and her information can be found there. I'm with METALCON. My information can be found on the METALCON website. And we're both happy to answer any questions, and what we can't answer, we can find the answer for you. So since we have no questions, I think we're gonna end this here. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. If you do have any questions going forward, you can reach me at kaylin@metalcon.com. And for Zanat, you can reach her at Ali, A-L-I, at connect to,
Yeah, the number 2, amc.com.
there we go. Okay, connect the number 2, amc.com. So thank you everyone for joining us. Zanat, thank you so much for being my co-presenter today. It was a wonderful experience. I am so excited to see just about every single one of you, hopefully, at METALCON this year. And I hope to see you at IRE, FRSA, AIA, and multiple other industry events coming soon. Again, mark your calendars for our next METALCON Live, or METALCON Online, I'm sorry about that, coming up on August 21st. We look forward to seeing you all there. We look forward to seeing you all this October. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thank you again, Zanat. Bye all.
Thanks, everyone.